You thought you knew what science fiction was. But what if these films, bizarre and forgotten, were the ones that truly defined the genre? Imagine a world where time unravels, alien worlds collide with the real, and humanity faces its darkest future. What happens when the rules of storytelling break down completely? Keep watching, because the next film will challenge everything you thought you knew about reality. Don't blink. This list dives deeper than you ever expected. Genesis 2, 1973. You wake up in a future that was never meant to exist. This is no post-apocalyptic chaos filled with explosions and endless action. Genesis 2 begins in eerie silence. Dylan Hunt, a scientist, emerges from suspended animation to find the world unrecognizable. Civilizations have collapsed, and humanity lives in fragmented underground societies, each holding a dangerous and unique ideology. One faction strives to rebuild, while another embraces a dark, matriarchal society that enslaves men. This isn't your typical sci-fi film from the 1970s. It's a bleak, philosophical exploration of what happens when humanity rebuilds without remembering its roots. The world feels strangely ancient, yet disturbingly futuristic, an intricate labyrinth of tunnels where technology seems both advanced and unreliable. The pace is slow, deliberate. Every conversation feels heavy with purpose, drawing you deeper into the mystery of this fractured society. What's most unsettling? This film was meant to spark a series, a chance to explore this unique world even further. Instead, it ended with just a glimpse of what could have been, leaving viewers haunted by what might have been discovered had the story continued. It's a chilling reminder of what can happen when the past is forgotten. In the Dust of the Stars, 1975, what happens when sci-fi decides to dream while intoxicated? In the Dust of the Stars feels less like a story and more like a fever dream that lingers long after the screen goes dark. The premise seems straightforward. A crew receives a distress signal from a distant planet. But when they arrive, they're welcomed into a strange, almost too perfect paradise. Music fills the air. Colors explode in every frame. The inhabitants seem friendly, too friendly. It's here the discomfort begins. Slowly, the paradise unravels. Beneath the neon glow and celebratory atmosphere lies a system of control, a perfect illusion designed to trap visitors. These travelers are being studied, manipulated. Freedom is just a mirage. What makes this film truly bizarre is its visual language, a rebellious and excessive spectacle that defies Eastern Bloc cinema norms. It's lavish, overwhelming, and completely immersive in its absurdity. There's a political undercurrent, though never fully stated, that casts a shadow over every scene. The film reveals the danger of blind authority and control, but it never offers easy answers. Instead, you're left with a sense of dread, realizing the entire world around the characters is designed to deceive them. This is no ordinary paradise. It's a dangerous game. Futureworld, 1976. Imagine a theme park where all your wildest dreams come true, where you can live out any fantasy in a hyper-real world. A Futureworld takes that concept to terrifying extremes. The sequel to Westworld, this film dives deep into the malfunctioning world of artificial intelligence, where technology isn't just a tool, it's a threat. The movie begins with an idyllic setting, an advanced amusement park where humans and robots coexist in a perfect harmony. But soon, the visitors begin to realize something's horribly wrong. The machines designed to entertain and serve have turned into something far more sinister. The park's creators have lost control. What was meant to be a paradise quickly devolves into a nightmare. What's truly unsettling about Futureworld is the coldness of the unfolding horror. There's no screaming chaos or frenetic action. Instead, the tension builds quietly, almost like a slow, suffocating realization. The technology meant to fulfill desires becomes the tool for manipulation, and the inhabitants become prisoners in a gilded cage. The film feels like a warning. What happens when the very thing we create to serve us becomes our undoing? The Noah's Ark Principle, 1979. If you think sci-fi can't get any stranger, the Noah's Ark Principle proves you wrong within minutes. This is not your typical space adventure. It's a cold, unsettling vision of the future where a massive space station secretly controls Earth's weather. Sounds ambitious, but the way it unfolds feels almost surreal. The film blends political paranoia with hard sci-fi concepts, creating a world where technology doesn't just serve humanity, it manipulates it. Scientists aboard the station begin to realize that their mission isn't what it seems. And what follows is a slow unraveling of control, power, and hidden agendas. There's a constant tension beneath the surface, as if something is always just slightly off. What makes it truly bizarre isn't just the concept, it's the tone. The pacing is deliberate, the atmosphere is heavy, and the storytelling feels distant, almost clinical. It doesn't guide you, it leaves you to piece things together on your own. That can be frustrating, but also deeply fascinating. It's the kind of film that doesn't try to entertain you in the usual way. Instead, it pulls you into a strange, uncomfortable future and lets the silence do the work. Not everyone connected with it, but those who did never forgot it. The Last Dinosaur, 1977. Imagine a world where dinosaurs never went extinct. The Last Dinosaur explores that exact scenario, transporting us to a hidden valley where prehistoric creatures roam freely in a land untouched by time. But it's not just about dinosaurs, it's about a bizarre, action-packed adventure that brings together the past and present in the strangest way possible. The film follows a group of explorers, led by a wealthy man seeking to capture and study the creatures that exist in this remote paradise. The setting is both familiar and completely foreign, an isolated world where the laws of nature still follow their ancient rules. As the explorers venture deeper into the valley, they are confronted by dangers not just from the creatures, but from the untamed, brutal environment itself. What makes this movie truly bizarre is its premise. A prehistoric world sitting side by side with modern technology and human ambition. The absurdity of the situation is matched only by the film's campy execution. Giant dinosaurs clash with over-the-top human drama. It's absurd, it's cheesy, and it's somehow incredibly entertaining, making it a strange yet unforgettable entry in 70s sci-fi. Dark Star, 1974. A malfunctioning spaceship drifting through deep space. A crew of oddballs, and a rogue bomb that may destroy them all. Dark Star is a masterclass in absurdity. Directed by John Carpenter, this low-budget gem is a bizarre combination of space exploration and dark comedy, a precursor to the director's later horror work. The story begins with a simple premise. A group of astronauts aboard the Dark Star are tasked with destroying unstable planets. However, the deeper we dive into the mission, the more things unravel. The crew is dysfunctional, the bomb they carry is malfunctioning, and the ship itself feels like it's falling apart. Everything in this film is a metaphor for the absurdity of human existence in the vast, indifferent universe. What makes Dark Star truly bizarre is its blend of deadpan humor, bizarre philosophical undertones, and unconventional pacing. Scenes that should be full of tension, such as the bomb's countdown, are treated with a comedic tone that's both unsettling and hilarious. The film's bleak humor doesn't just entertain, it makes you question what's really happening in this cold, mechanical universe. With its weird mix of humor, space travel, and existential questions, Dark Star is a must-see for anyone seeking a film that defies genre conventions and embraces the absurdity of human nature in space. The Man Who Fell to Earth, 1976. David Bowie as an alien stranded on Earth, what could be stranger? The Man Who Fell to Earth is a strange, meditative exploration of human nature through the eyes of an alien trying to save his dying planet. Directed by Nicholas Roeg, this film combines psychological drama with surreal, poetic visuals to tell the story of Thomas Jerome Newton, an extraterrestrial who arrives on Earth to find a solution to the water crisis on his home planet. But as Newton becomes more human, his mission begins to fade into the background, and the film shifts focus to the complex, corrupt, and destructive nature of human society. The more Newton tries to understand humanity, the more he is consumed by its vices. The more powerful he becomes, the more his isolation and emotional unraveling are felt. What makes this film so bizarre is its tone. It's a slow, haunting exploration of alienation, addiction, and the cost of progress. Bowie's performance is chilling and otherworldly, his very presence making the film feel like a fever dream that you can't quite escape. The visuals are otherworldly, yet somehow intimate, blurring the lines between the alien and the familiar. This is a film that challenges everything you thought you knew about sci-fi and its ability to delve into the heart of the human experience. Solaris, 1972. Solaris isn't just a sci-fi film, it's an experience that takes you deep into the human psyche. Directed by Andrei Tarkovsky, this Soviet film adaptation of Stanislaw Lem's novel explores the intersection between human consciousness and an alien intelligence that can manipulate memories and desires. The plot follows a team of scientists aboard a space station orbiting the mysterious planet Solaris, where strange phenomena begin to take place. The ocean on the planet seems to be sentient, bringing long-dead loved ones back to life in forms that are not quite human. As the crew is forced to confront their past, Solaris becomes a meditation on grief, love, and the limitations of human understanding. What makes this film truly bizarre isn't just its premise, but its pacing. Solaris unfolds slowly, with long, lingering shots that allow the viewer to fully immerse themselves in the emotional turmoil of the characters. The strange alien phenomena on Solaris are never fully explained, adding an air of mystery and forcing the audience to focus on the emotional core of the story. It's not about the alien life form or space exploration, it's about the battle within ourselves, making Solaris one of the most complex and surreal films in the sci-fi genre. The Quester Tapes, 1974. You are not supposed to feel sympathy for a machine, but The Quester Tapes breaks that rule almost immediately. This is not a story about robots turning evil or rebelling against their creators. Instead, it asks a far stranger question. What happens when a machine becomes more human than the humans who built it? Quester is an android created by scientists who never finished his programming. That missing piece becomes everything. Instead of following orders, he begins searching for purpose, identity, meaning. The journey is quiet, yet deeply unsettling. He does not rage. He does not malfunction in dramatic fashion. He simply questions. What makes this film bizarre is how grounded it feels despite its concept. There are no explosive set pieces, no flashy effects. Just a machine walking through human society trying to understand why it exists. The tension comes from absence, missing data, missing purpose, missing answers. As Quester uncovers fragments of his intended mission, he begins to suspect something far bigger than his creators ever revealed. His existence may not be an accident. It may be part of something ancient and hidden. This is not just sci-fi. It is existential inquiry disguised as a television film. And that quiet intensity makes it one of the strangest and most haunting entries of the decade. The Lathe of Heaven, 1979. What if your dreams could rewrite reality itself? Not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. The Lathe of Heaven turns that terrifying idea into something even more disturbing. A man discovers that every time he dreams, the world changes to match it, and no one remembers the previous version except him. At first, this power seems harmless, even useful. His psychiatrist believes it can fix the world, end war, eliminate overpopulation, create peace. But every attempt to improve reality creates something worse, a new imbalance, a new nightmare. What makes this film truly bizarre is its quiet escalation. There are no explosions or dramatic warnings. Reality simply shifts, subtly, completely. One moment the world feels familiar. The next, it has always been different. History rewritten, humanity altered, truth erased. The horror comes from realization. You cannot control perfection. Every fix leads to unintended consequences that spiral beyond comprehension. The more they try to shape reality, the more unstable it becomes. Visually, the film feels minimal yet uncanny. It does not overwhelm with spectacle. Instead, it disturbs through concept, through implication, through the idea that reality itself is fragile and easily manipulated. This is science fiction at its most philosophical and unsettling. A story where the greatest power imaginable becomes the greatest curse imaginable. The Incredible Melting Man, 1977. There's horror in sudden destruction, but the real terror lies in the slow, agonizing decay. The Incredible Melting Man takes an uncomfortably unique approach to body horror. And the story begins with an astronaut who returns from space only to find that his body is undergoing a grotesque transformation. He's slowly melting. At first, the change is subtle. A wound that refuses to heal, skin that seems just a bit off. What feels like a recovery soon turns into a nightmare of disintegration. The astronaut's flesh deteriorates piece by piece, while he remains fully aware of what is happening. This slow, inevitable change becomes the crux of the film. Each scene builds on the grotesque reality of his body falling apart. What makes The Incredible Melting Man truly bizarre is its commitment to showing every stage of the transformation. The camera doesn't shy away from the grotesque details, the melting, the disfigurement, the horror of being trapped in a body that no longer functions. The visual effects, though simple by today's standards, are visceral, making the viewer feel the protagonist's slow death. The narrative is bare bones. There's no complex plot, no grand mystery to solve. Instead, it focuses on the inevitable decay of a man, both physically and emotionally. The horror doesn't come from external forces, but from within. As the protagonist melts, he loses more than just his body. He loses his humanity. This bizarre film lingers in your mind long after the credits roll. The tragedy of a man forced to witness his own demise is more haunting than the monster it creates. Starship Invasions, 1977. What if an alien invasion didn't begin with a bang, but with the quietest whisper? Starship Invasions is a film that builds its tension not through loud explosions or chaotic battles, but through careful, almost imperceptible control. Directed by the great Christopher Lee, the invasion starts subtly, with strange lights in the sky and a slow realization that something sinister is happening. The film centers around an alien conflict with two factions fighting for control of Earth. However, unlike many invasion movies, this one doesn't focus on human resistance or chaos. It presents humanity as mere pawns in a cosmic game between alien civilizations. The Earth itself becomes a resource to be claimed, not defended. What makes Starship Invasion so strange is its atmosphere. The film moves with deliberate restraint. Instead of loud confrontations, the tension builds slowly, with the aliens manipulating the human population, making us question what is real and what is an illusion. Telepathic communication replaces traditional dialogue, adding to the eerie, dreamlike quality of the film. Characters aren't just fighting for survival, they're grappling with a presence they cannot fully comprehend. Visually, the film feels like a blend of futuristic and ancient, a strange, almost mystical aesthetic. The spacecraft are massive, yet hover with a quiet stillness. The silence in the film speaks louder than any battle could. It's a subtle invasion, one where the true danger isn't the alien force itself, but the slow, creeping realization that humanity has already been overtaken. The final revelation is chilling. Not a sudden invasion, but the quiet erosion of control. The Giant Spider Invasion, 1975. There's a moment in the Giant Spider Invasion when the absurdity of it all becomes undeniable. A meteor falls to Earth, and with it, something terrifying, a group of giant spiders. The film starts in a rural town where life moves at a slow, predictable pace. Farmers go about their business. The land is quiet. Then chaos erupts as the meteor crashes, and what follows is an invasion that goes from ridiculous to terrifying in a matter of moments. The beauty of the Giant Spider Invasion is how quickly the horror escalates. The spiders don't sneak in unnoticed. They grow quickly, becoming monstrous creatures that wreak havoc. The effects are unapologetically artificial, with giant spiders that are so obviously fake, they seem almost cartoonish. But instead of breaking the immersion, the low-budget effects enhance the film's strange charm. They make the spectacle feel like a wild, almost surreal fever dream. What makes this film bizarre isn't just the giant spiders, it's the way the characters react to them. There's a sense of confusion, disbelief, and fear that feels both grounded and absurd. The characters try to make sense of what's happening, even as the spiders grow larger and more dangerous. The pacing moves quickly once the spiders start multiplying. There's no slow build-up here. Once the invasion begins, it's immediate, and it's unstoppable. The characters are caught in a nightmare of their own making, unable to comprehend the scale of the threat. As the spiders spread, the film becomes a bizarre commentary on nature's unpredictability, a reminder that when chaos arrives, it often comes in the most absurd forms. Equinox, 1970. Equinox is a film that doesn't just unfold, it explodes into chaos. Like a fragmented journey that offers no easy answers. A group of young people venture into a remote area searching for a missing professor. What they find, however, is far beyond anything they could have imagined. Strange books, bizarre artifacts, and creatures that shouldn't exist. The film doesn't follow traditional narrative rules. Instead, it presents a disjointed, unpredictable series of events that make reality itself feel like a fragile illusion. The film's premise seems simple enough: exploration, mystery, danger. But as the story unravels, the characters are thrust into a world that makes no sense. Objects appear that defy explanation. Creatures from another dimension materialize without warning. The film's pace is erratic, moving from moments of calm to bursts of pure chaos. What makes Equinox so bizarre is its complete disregard for narrative structure. It doesn't guide the audience through the plot. Instead, it throws strange imagery and odd scenarios into the viewer's path, forcing them to react to the unexpected. There are stop-motion creatures that move in unnatural rhythms, adding to the surreal atmosphere. It's a film that makes you feel both lost and curious, like an experiment gone wrong, or a nightmare you can't wake up from. The underlying theme of intrusion is palpable. Something from another dimension has crossed into this one, not as an invasion, but as a presence that can't be contained. And as the story goes on, it becomes clear that there may be no resolution. The characters and the audience are left with more questions than answers. And that lingering uncertainty is what makes this film unforgettable. Doomsday Machine, 1976. Doomsday Machine opens with an idea that seems too extreme to fathom. Earth is destroyed, wiped out in an instant by a human-made device. What follows is the story of the last survivors, aboard a spacecraft bound for Venus. Their mission, initially designed to escape the devastation, becomes a struggle for survival in the face of overwhelming uncertainty. What makes this film bizarre is how it handles the aftermath of the apocalypse. The survivors, a carefully selected crew, aren't presented as heroic figures, but as individuals struggling to come to terms with their new reality. They are humanity's last hope, but they aren't sure what to do with that responsibility. Tensions rise as personal conflicts emerge, trust breaks down, and the crew realizes that their journey may not lead to salvation. Visually, the film is grounded in a sense of isolation. The spacecraft is claustrophobic, and the technology feels functional but fragile, adding to the sense of unease. The pacing is deliberate, emphasizing the emotional and psychological toll of being humanity's last hope. There's no grand mission to rebuild the world, just a desperate struggle to survive in the face of extinction. Doomsday Machine is about more than just survival. It's about what humanity is willing to preserve when everything is lost. The stakes are personal, immediate, and impossibly high, making this a haunting exploration of the human condition. The Daytime Ended, 1979. The Daytime Ended is a journey into a reality where time itself begins to fracture. A quiet, yet remote desert home is the setting for a series of bizarre events that seem to defy all logic. At first, everything appears peaceful, just a family in isolation. But soon, the fabric of time starts to unravel, and the house becomes a portal to multiple realities. Dinosaurs from the past, aliens from the future, and time itself collide in a bizarre, unstoppable spiral. What makes this film bizarre is its complete rejection of traditional narrative structure. There's no clear explanation for what's happening, no central force trying to make sense of the chaos. Instead, we're thrust into a whirlwind of events that don't follow any pattern. One moment, the family is faced with aliens. The next, they're surrounded by prehistoric creatures. The visual effects are uneven, and yet they contribute to the sense of instability, adding to the sense that reality is literally breaking down. The pacing of the film is erratic. It rushes through certain moments while lingering on others that seem entirely insignificant. But that's the point. The very essence of time has lost its meaning. As events become increasingly surreal, the family is forced to navigate a world where the past, present, and future all collapse into one unstable reality. The film leaves you with more questions than answers, but it's that uncertainty, that loss of control over time itself, that makes The Daytime Ended unforgettable. Zardoz, 1974. A giant stone head floats across a post-apocalyptic landscape, raining weapons upon the world below, while Sean Connery, clad in a red diaper-like outfit, searches for answers in a bizarre future. This is Zardoz, a film that's as strange as it sounds, and then some. Directed by John Boorman, Zardoz is a wild, surreal ride that defies conventional storytelling and logic, blending sci-fi, philosophy, and bizarre imagery into a kaleidoscope of mind-bending concepts. The world of Zardoz is one of stark contradictions. On one side, you have a class of immortals who live in luxury, their society governed by intellectuals who live without age or disease. On the other, there are the Brutals, a group of humans left to die in a desolate wasteland, ruled by the ever-present Zardoz head, which literally controls their fate. What makes Zardoz so bizarre isn't just its outlandish premise or the out-of-place costumes, it's the film's exploration of deep, philosophical questions, wrapped in an absurd package. The Immortals, led by a godlike figure. You have lost the very essence of life. They live forever, but without any purpose, becoming numb to everything around them. The film examines the consequences of eternal life, societal control, and the erosion of human passion. The visuals are as strange as the ideas. Floating heads, ancient gods, and futuristic technology all blur together in a strange dance of imagery. The plot is erratic, not following any traditional narrative arc, but that's part of its charm. It's a feverish exploration of humanity's darkest desires and fears, set in a world where nothing makes sense, except perhaps the existential questions it forces us to confront. Zardoz is the epitome of bizarre 1970s sci-fi, leaving the audience bewildered but undeniably captivated. These films prove that sci-fi isn't just about space battles and alien invasions. It's about pushing boundaries and questioning everything we think we know. From fractured realities to mind-bending philosophies, these 1970s classics leave us with more questions than answers. Which one shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe for more strange journeys into cinema.